Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is one I've been wanting to make for a while, because the story we're about to get into isn't just another quick K-pop headline. It's actually one of those moments that says a lot about the industry, about fame, and about what happens when a global superstar decides to be completely honest with millions of people watching. I'm talking about Jimin from BTS, and the moment back in March that had ARMY and casual K-pop fans alike absolutely losing their minds online. So here's what happened. It wasn't a comeback trailer. It wasn't an award show appearance. It wasn't even a solo single drop. It was one simple photo. Jimin posted a picture of himself standing on a digital bathroom scale, casually showing his current weight to the world. That's it. No big production, no dramatic caption, just a straightforward, almost mundane snapshot of everyday life. And yet within minutes, his name was trending across multiple platforms. Twitter, or X now I guess, was flooded. Instagram comments exploded. TikTok stitched the moment into dozens of reaction videos. And major K-pop news outlets like Okpop and Koreaboo had it up as breaking news before the day was even over. Now if you're new to K-pop or you don't follow BTS that closely, you might be wondering, why would something this small cause such a massive reaction? And that's actually the most interesting part of this whole story. Because the reaction wasn't really about the number itself. It was about everything that number represented. Let's rewind a little bit first, because context really matters here. Jimin has never really been someone who hides his struggles from fans. Over the years, he's talked fairly openly, in interviews, in behind-the-scenes footage, in random live streams, about the pressure he's felt to maintain a certain physique as a performer. If you followed BTS since their early days, you probably remember stories about grueling training schedules, extremely restrictive eating habits, and the kind of intense self-discipline that trainees and idols are expected to maintain in the Korean entertainment industry. This isn't unique to Jimin, by the way. It's something that's been discussed openly for years across the K-pop industry as a whole, where idols, both men and women, are often held to appearance standards that regular people simply aren't subjected to in their everyday jobs. Jimin, specifically, has mentioned in the past that he went through phases of extreme dieting, the kind where you're basically surviving on very little food for extended periods just to fit into stage outfits or look a certain way on camera. And for a long time, that was kind of just accepted as part of the job, something idols dealt with quietly, maybe joked about occasionally, but rarely addressed head-on with this level of honesty. So when this photo dropped in March, showing his current weight, it wasn't just fans reacting to a number. It was fans reacting to the fact that Jimin was choosing to be transparent about something that idols usually keep private, and that transparency is really what fueled the massive wave of conversation that followed. Now here's where the story gets even more layered, because just weeks before this photo, Jimin had already opened up about a different but related topic, his weight loss journey. According to reports, he talked about losing close to 10 kilograms over a period of time, and what really stood out to fans wasn't the amount he lost. It was how he described the process. He was fairly direct about the fact that he's moved away from the extreme, almost punishing methods he used in the past. No more starvation-style dieting. No more pushing his body to unhealthy limits just for the sake of appearance. Instead, he talked about building a routine centered around consistent, moderate exercise, things like regular running sessions, which he's actually been documenting a bit on social media alongside fellow member V. If you've seen any of those posts, you'll notice they're not flashy or overly produced. They're just casual shots of the two of them out running together, sometimes early morning, sometimes looking exhausted and sweaty in a very relatable human way. It's a small detail, but it tells you a lot. This wasn't some crash diet designed for a quick before and after reveal. This was months of consistent effort, built on a completely different philosophy than the extreme methods he used to rely on. And honestly, when you put those two stories together, the weight loss journey, and the recent photo, it paints a much more meaningful picture than just idol reveals weight, fans shocked. It's really the story of someone consciously choosing a healthier relationship with his own body, after years of operating under an industry that historically hasn't made that easy. Okay, so now let's actually talk about how people reacted, because this is where things got really interesting and honestly, a little bit complicated. On one side, you had a huge wave of admiration. A lot of fans praised Jimin's discipline and commitment, especially considering how insanely busy his schedule has been. Between solo projects, group promotions, world tours, and everything else that comes with being part of one of the biggest music groups on the planet, maintaining any kind of consistent health routine is genuinely impressive. For these fans, the photo and the story behind it were seen as proof of just how seriously Jimin takes his craft, not just as a singer, but as a performer who pours everything into his stage presence. But on the other side, there was real concern. And I think this is actually the more important part of the conversation to talk about. A lot of fans, and even some entertainment commentators, pointed out that this moment, however positive Jimin's own framing of it was, ended up reigniting a much bigger and more serious conversation about body standards in the K-pop industry. Some discussions online specifically referenced how idol culture has, for years, been linked to unhealthy relationships with food and body image, both for the performers themselves, and, worryingly, for young fans who look up to them. This is a heavy topic, and I want to be careful about how we talk about it, because at the end of the day, we're discussing a real person's health, not just entertainment gossip. Several larger fan accounts and community moderators actually stepped in during the peak of the discussion to gently remind fellow fans not to compare their own bodies to an idol's. And that's such an important point, because the physical demands of being a globally touring performer, someone who's dancing under stage lights for hours, doing intense choreography night after night, are just fundamentally different from what an average person's body needs or is built for. Comparing yourself to that standard isn't really fair to yourself. And it's a comparison a lot of idols themselves have said they wish fans wouldn't make. At the same time, not every reaction was serious or heavy. There was plenty of lighter commentary too. A lot of fans simply complimented how good Jimin looked, joking that he somehow manages to look effortlessly stylish no matter what the topic of discussion is. Some turned it into memes. Some just flooded the comments with heart emojis and supportive messages. It really showed how one single, fairly ordinary post can spark completely different types of conversations depending on who's engaging with it, from genuine health advocacy discussions to light-hearted fan appreciation. Now, while all of this was happening online, Jimin's actual schedule hasn't slowed down even a little bit. If anything, it's been one of the busiest stretches of his career. Around the same period, BTS set a new record on Spotify with a music video for their track Normal, which just goes to show that no matter what personal topics are trending about individual members, the group's overall momentum and popularity remain absolutely massive on a global scale. On top of that, members, including Jimin, have made appearances at some pretty huge international events this year, the kind of high-profile moments that put BTS in front of audiences well beyond their core fan base. And it's not just about the big flashy stuff either. Away from cameras and stage lights, Jimin has continued something he's actually been doing quietly for years now: charitable donations, particularly focused on education. Reports surfaced that he made another substantial donation to support underprivileged students, this time in his hometown region, and true to form, he didn't publicize it himself at all. It only became public knowledge after officials from the receiving organization confirmed the donation to local media. This isn't a one-time thing either. He's reportedly made similar contributions to multiple regional education offices over the past several years, funding scholarships, book donations, and various school development projects, all without asking for recognition. When you step back and look at the full picture, the packed touring and promotional schedule, the ongoing solo activities, the consistent behind-the-scenes charity work, and now this open conversation about health and body image, it really paints a picture of someone who's not just trying to maintain a public image, but who seems genuinely focused on building sustainable habits, both physically and in terms of the kind of impact he wants to have off stage. So, what's the actual takeaway from all of this? I think there are a few things worth sitting with here. First, this whole situation is a pretty powerful reminder that behind the polished, seemingly effortless image we see of idols on stage, there's often a much more complicated, sometimes difficult process happening behind the scenes. Jimin choosing to speak openly about moving away from extreme dieting methods towards something healthier and more sustainable is genuinely a positive message, especially considering how many younger fans look up to him and might unconsciously model their own habits after what they see from their favorite idols. Second, I think this is a good moment for all of us, as fans of this industry, to think a little more critically about how we engage with these kinds of posts. It's totally fine, and honestly encouraged, to appreciate someone's discipline and hard work, but it's worth being mindful about not turning that appreciation into unhealthy comparison, either toward the idol or toward ourselves. At the same time, staying critical of the industry standards that create this kind of pressure in the first place is just as important. These conversations shouldn't just be about one idol's personal journey, they should also be about pushing for a healthier, more sustainable culture across the entertainment industry as a whole. And third, honestly, this whole situation is just a really clear example of how much influence a single public figure like Jimin actually has. One simple, almost throwaway photo was enough to spark a genuinely global conversation touching on mental health, body image, industry pressure, and personal growth, all within the span of a single day. That's not something that happens by accident. It says a lot about the platform these top-tier idols have, and honestly, about the responsibility that comes along with that kind of visibility. So that's the full story behind the moment that had basically the entire internet talking a few months back. What started as a simple photo turned into something so much bigger than just a number on a scale. It became a conversation about honesty, about health, about the pressures of fame, and ultimately, about someone working, quietly and consistently, toward becoming a healthier, more balanced version of himself. I'd genuinely love to hear what you think about all this. Are you more on the side of being impressed by his discipline and openness? Or are you more focused on the bigger concerns around body standards and pressure that idols face throughout their careers? Maybe you're somewhere in between, and honestly, that's probably the most realistic take. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I always love reading through what you all have to say on topics like this. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss any future updates like this one. And if you know a fellow ARMY or K-pop fan who'd find this story interesting, go ahead and share it with them too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.